Meantime, as House Republicans launch their investigation into Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg's response to the fiery train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, environmental officials insist the air quality is normal and cleanup from the site can carry on. 38 train cars carrying volatile chemicals derailed earlier this month. Amid fears of potential explosions, officials opted to release and burn the chemicals. After a series of home screenings and air quality tests, the EPA decided that shipment of contaminated waste away from the site could safely resume today. And joining us tonight with more is Chris Bedford, executive editor of Common Sense magazine. Chris, great to be with you. First off, what's your take on all of this? Environmental officials say the air is clear in East Palestine. However, many residents would beg to differ with that.
Well, yeah, I think I'd side with the residents on this, especially after the last couple of years we've had of absolutely junk science coming out of our government and out of our experts and defying what people can see with their eyes. When you have news crews going there who are getting rashes, who are feeling physically ill throughout all of them, when you have pets that are getting ill, when you have residents that are getting ill, when you have a sickly chemical smell in the air, and we live in a country now where it's estimated that about half of American women will get cancer in their lifetime, and almost that many men, whether there's a reason for these residents to be weirded out and to be frightened, to feel like they're not getting the full story. It's difficult to really parse through exactly how badly this administration is bungling this sort of thing. The Biden administration, especially in the State of the Union, have been trying to win back white working voters and get back to that bloc that they used to have. Environmental and regulatory issues are right up their lane. Infrastructure issues are something that plays very well with Democratic voters. All of this comes in. And on top of that, Joe Biden is someone who's supposed to be sort of the consoler in chief, someone who has a super ability to make people who are hurting feel comfort and feel like he understands that. For some reason, not a single one of these things has been brought to bear. And it's hard to guess why, if it's just sheer incompetence or if the people of East Palestine and other folks like them really do rate that low on White House staffers' agenda.
Chris, I want to get your take on something else, on that Wall Street Journal article about COVID-19 most likely coming from a lab in China, and also how people who proposed this theory earlier were basically shunned and shut down on social media and by the media in large part. Your thoughts?
And I wrote about it at the time. A U.S. Senator, Tom Cotton, was attacked. The Federalist, where I worked at the time, was attacked. Comedians and anyone who stood up and was attacked, until Jon Stewart, a favorite liberal icon, came out and said, hey, this incredibly obvious theory is almost certainly correct. And then, like with so much of COVID, a lot of the folks who have been pushing this complete madness in corporate media and in government just kind of chuckled and said, oh, yeah, well, who knows? It's a developing story. In the meantime, though, in real time, they had disinformation reporters, which is a strange term, going after anyone who would attack it. They were who would suggest this came from a lab, something that was fairly obvious. There was social media censorship. The government was working with social media companies to censor. This is a massive overreach, and to just go beyond it and for the government to say, oh, all is well that ends well, that'd be a mistake. The American people deserve answers on this, and people should be held accountable.
Chris, we have probably about 30 seconds left or so, but what else are you following?
I am following the Marymount University, which is one of the Catholic universities near me right now, that just had to gut its liberal arts programs, gut its theology, gut its religion studies as part of a decline that we've seen across the country in Catholic education. It's something that I think we should all be following closely. As our Catholic universities go more and more secular and go further and further away from church teaching, a lot of them are struggling financially, going under, and that's something that local residents and people who are involved in their parishes really ought to be paying attention to, because it's something that there are things that we can do to stop that.
Okay, we're going to leave it right there, Chris. Thanks so much for weighing in. Always appreciate it.
Thank you.